Hey guys, Walter Fedczuk here to tell you that Unicorn.com may be the world's premier esports betting site, but they're also your best bet for keeping up with all the esports you love. With their site's newest update, they've reinvented their Live Now system and created a TV guide style layout to find out when your favorite teams will be playing next. And if that isn't simple enough, they've even added a search bar to help filter it down even further. And even if you aren't a gambling fan, Unicorn's newest update is a must-have for any esports fan. And you might even discover your favorite new writer in their news section, where you've got my man Drowlin with some excellent CSGO content, and you can find some fantastic articles from my lovely co-host, Chase Wassenar, as well. So check out the new layout at Unicorn.com, because there are few places where you can stay up to date on all your favorite esports, and Unicorn can help. Unicorn.com. Welcome to the new Sportsbook.
Hello, Internet. This is Chase RedShirtKing Wassenar, and welcome to Week 3 of the NALCS Minus the Lines podcast. Did I say minus the lines? I did, because the gambling lines from Unicorn are not out yet. We don't know why. They're usually out by the time that we recorded, but we want to make sure our analysis is out there for you guys to enjoy rather than potentially having an episode come out way too late. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk pure analysis now, and then we will do a Just the Lines episode, just like we did for Europe, which you probably should have checked out over on our channel now if you haven't already, where we will give just our betting advice, but the analysis is here, and I'm joined by my good friend and co-host and a North American analyst extraordinaire, Walter Ceades Fedczuk. Walter, how you doing, man?
I don't know if I'd say analyst extraordinaire, but what I would say is your Rough Drafts Guess the Lines World Heavyweight Champion!
Only you could be given a title like extraordinaire and be like, nah, that's not enough. I gotta keep going. I gotta build this up further.
But extraordinaire is not a champion. I'm a champion. I'm a winner. Unlike a certain team in North America.
Hey,
losers.
that certain team beat your certain team, so let's maybe not get too hasty about a 7th place team solo mid, huh? Maybe we should maybe hold down on that. Maybe take a little slow roll. But
I wasn't talking about Immortals.
Oh. What team in North America are you talking about? Because
the only team that hasn't won a series.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't, that doesn't affect me. So, anyway, we're going to talk about our ups and our downs. I think, should we just go to the down? Because I think that has to be it, right? Or do you have a different down for the week?
I have a different down for the week.
Okay, well, then what's the down? Let's start
with
sad and work our way up. Yeah, I want to go on an optimistic point. Afterwards. So let's get the downs out of the way. What's your down for the week?
Dignitas.
How?
Why? Just why? Just why? Why would you give the team that shall not be named a win? Why? I didn't want to have to even remotely have to discuss them seriously. And then you lose to them. Like, Dignitas, you guys really need to just figure your bleep out. You beat TSM pretty soundly, like Keen and Lod looking great. Someday's doing his jazz. We got Shrimp in there who's playing great. And then the horse. And you lose to the goddamn horse. And I don't even want to meme. I don't even want to be part of that meme, but I don't know how else to refer to them because I've taken such a strong stance. And I don't think one victory against Dignitas is still worthy of me, actually caring about them. But, Dignitas, now you made it that much, it's that much closer. The glass is, almost overflowing to the point where now I actually have to deal with it. Why the hell would you do that to me?
Well, I mean, they broke your heart in 2 different ways this week. They beat TSM, which was a very well-played series. I think Someday was an absolute monster.
Someday was very, very good.
And it's so great that Fiora is now a thing that we get to watch him play on a regular basis. I would watch his Fiora all day, every day, if I could. And I think it is great. We saw Shrimp and Chaser. How was that going to work out, sharing the time? I think now we've seen it's going to work out pretty well. But I do understand why you'd put them at a down, because games 2 and 3 against Liquid, it just felt like they were throwing their bodies at Liquid, kind of funneling in one by one into team fights and choke points, and really just not picking the intelligent engages that had given them the victory against TSM and had helped them do so well in game 1. We're not used to seeing those high death counts, especially from their bot lane, but really all over the place. Everyone other than Subday, I think, had pretty severe positioning issues in game 3 around specifically neutral objectives that they would have needed to secure the game. And at some point, you can't give up that many opportunities. If you give the enemy team enough chances, they're gonna close it out. And it felt like Dignitas threw away a very winnable series.
I'm just disappointed. I'm just super disappointed. I'm not upset like I was when I picked them to win NALCS in the spring and they came out and they looked terrible. Like, now I was genuinely upset of like, why isn't this working? This was supposed to be Keen and Lot's like breakout, and now I'm just disappointed because like move on.
Let's talk about the team that disappointed me. Phoenix won. Just real quick, I hope you're happy, Arrow. I hope the fact that you had someone who's not very good but at least listens to you in whatever way that you think is appropriate, from what I'm hearing from people behind the scenes and what's been come out in interviews with you or whatever else, is worth having a support that doesn't hold down the lane for you well enough, that doesn't help you push out the lane enough that you can roam the way that you were roaming last split, that gets caught out and overextends a lot on his own. I hope that's what you wanted, man, because when you're not the carry for this team and you haven't had the freedom to be the hard carry for this team, well, we've seen what happens when it falls on the rest of your team, because whether it's Inori or Meteos, they both looked bad this week. I mean, Meteos did not look any better than what Inori's been. Their solo laners are not looking any better than they were when Inori was playing versus Meteos. I mean, they're just too many deaths, too many overextensions, too little coordinated efforts, too few plays around the guys that are supposed to be their superstars. I mean, this just kind of sucks. They went from being a really good team to a team that right now would be playing in relegation matches if there were such a thing this split. And you can only lose so many series before, you're basically going to knock yourselves out of Worlds contention, because you got a whole bunch of points last split, right? You got those third place points. Could have put you in a gauntlet. If you don't get in this split, I don't think you're even allowed to play in the gauntlet. So, just all in all, I hope you're happy, guys. I hope this is what you were hoping for when you made the decisions that you did, because this team has not looked the same, and I don't know if it's because shot calling is off. I don't know what it is, but they look like a totally different team. And
they were a team that was super, super reliant on their jungler. Both their junglers are awful.
It's really not good. I don't know what happened. I don't know how.
Neither of them look like they want to play League of Legends. Like, they both just look miserable up there.
Yeah, it's weird. You just seeing their faces on the stage, they really don't look particularly happy. And I don't, we could hypothesize why for forever. Behind the scenes stuff is never going to be known in time. But I mean, let's remember, this is a team that had to drop Adrian because there were issues within the gaming house. They couldn't all get along. It's not unprecedented that there would be problems with team members. That's just what we know. I'm not speculating on things that we don't know. That's just the facts are. This team has had chemistry problems in the past and has had to drop players because of chemistry problems.
You also just like Urgot top lane. I don't know what the frick you're thinking. And
let me be clear. I lost my fantasy league because of that. If Zig had gotten me like 10 points, I would still be around in the Zoro Zero league. So I'm a little more bitter than most. It took one team fight.
Chase, this is like every like NFL podcast. No one cares about your fantasy team.
Hey man, Nick the producer cares about my fantasy team. And that's all that really matters.
Like I said, Nick the producer is on vacation. He's not here right now, so.
well, then there you go.
Nobody cares.
Let's talk about something that's happier. Let's have an up here. What is your up for the week?
see, I want like two. I'm going to give honorable mention to Dardoch succeeding on CLG.
Okay.
I'm going to give honorable mention to that, but the real winner, EnVyUs.
Yeah.
Holy crap, and this is more Apollo and Hakuo than like EnVyUs as a whole, because like Lyra's been playing fantastically. Seraph has been like Seraph. He's been a good version of Seraph, and like Period has been a very pleasant surprise. But Apollo and Hakuo have just taken it to the next level. They are fearless. Like, they don't care. They're aggroing onto people. They're like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I see you way over there. I'm gonna kill your tower. Then I'm gonna come kill you. Like, this is Apollo might need to change his name to John Wick, because he's sniping everybody. Like, this is ridiculous watching them play. Apollo has turned into everything I wanted Lod to be. Like, I thought Lod was going to be this guy, and Lod's more just kind of turned into, like, I'm the third carry. Like, that's fine. But, like, Apollo is asserting himself, and are like, no, I'm going to be the one that carries this team. I'm going to be the one that makes the plays. I'm going to be the one that does all this damage. And Hakuo's over there like, yeah, buddy, let's go. He's like, let's go. And as we're starting to shift back into more of a tank-centric kind of support position, melee tank supports, that just bodes well for Hakuo. Hakuo's really, really good at that. He's an okay Thresh player, but he's like really good at Braum. He's really good at Alistar. His Alistar is kind of out of this world. And I'm just really excited to see where Hakuo and Apollo go from here, because this is just kind of nutty to watch.
Yeah, and you should be excited. This is an exciting team. Here, Walter, let's play a game here. Like, we've talked about Apollo in the past. Like, I'm a fan of him back when he was named Wiz Fusion and playing for the lovely Good Game University, and even Team Dynamic before that for a little bit. But one thing I think we could agree, he hasn't always been like a strong laning presence. That's just not who he is. Without looking, where do you think he is in that stat right now?
What are we looking at? CS differential?
CS differential at 10 minutes. Where do you think he is? 1 through 10. Where do you think he lands?
2.
1. He's the top at 10.9 CS differential at 10 minutes. Double Lift is second at 8.3. The next closest is Sneaky at 3.4. That's insane. Apollo!
He's played against Piglet and Arrow.
Yeah. It's not like he's playing against bad AD carries here. Like, he's making people look foolish across the board. I mean, he played Cody's son. Like, we've been talking about how good that Immortals bot lane has become. They're certainly an aggressive bot lane.
Oh, this is better than that one. They're better than them.
Well, I, unfortunately, as an Immortals fan, I found that out the hard way this week. I mean, it was one of those things where, like, we said that should go to 3 maps because, look, EnVyUs is going to grab at least 1, right? They're good enough to get 1. Turns out they're good enough to get 2, and we lose the bet because Immortals wasn't good enough to get 1, which I don't know when I was ever going to say that. I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know if we're going to, have this age of Apollo now. That seems like such a weird thing to say, but, like, if they could keep this going, man, the sky's the limit for this team. This could be, like, a legitimate playoff team. Like, this could be the 3 seed. This could be the Phoenix 1 of last split. It's not out of play.
This could be the slice of NA this split, because like they just made one change. They got rid of their weakest link, and like, who was their support? Their support was not very good.
No, their support was not good.
It was
at
Nisbeth.
all.
Nisbeth, and they replaced Nisbeth with Mickey X. Like, Pyrion upgrading over Ninja is a pretty substantial upgrade, and it seems to really have opened them up to playing a lot more. It seems to have opened Seraph up. So, yeah, EnVyUs kind of came out of nowhere, and I'm really impressed with how they're playing. They are tied for first place after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
With Dignitas and CLG. So, like, okay, we want to talk about Nutty. There's Nutty for you.
What meme universe are we in where those are the top 3 teams, and if the season ended today, TSM wouldn't be in the playoffs? Which, again, season doesn't end after 4 games. It's such a small sample size that that's an irrelevant point. But I'm going to make it just because you rarely get to say these things about Team Solo Mid, and I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. I have to. That's my coping mechanism.
You guys were able to say it about Team Solo Mid last spring.
They were never this far down last spring.
Yeah, they were. They were awful with Yellow Star.
Last spring.
Last spring. Sorry, a year and a half ago they were this bad.
I don't think they were ever that low, but I'm going to double check because I don't want to say that you're absolutely wrong on that. But I think it's safe to say that there have been a lot of teams that have really surprised us so far this split. Europe is kind of the teams that we thought were good have continued to be good, but there are a lot of teams in North America that are really impressing us. And let's talk about one of them, Immortals. I think Immortals, despite losing, they are at 3-1. They are the other 3-1 team. They just don't have quite the same map score because they were 2-0'd. But they're still, I think, a solid team. I think they're better than they were last split. I think it's safe to say. What are you seeing in them that you think kind of held up from the momentum? You know, they didn't quite carry the momentum that we thought they had after week 1 into week 2. They were still good enough to take their series against FlyQuest, but it was a much more grindy week from them. What changed? What are the flaws you're seeing there?
This team is still getting used to each other and playing against each other as team fights. I still think there are some weaknesses in terms of like laning phase from Pobelter and Flame. If they're playing against like heavy pushing lanes and they aren't allowed to go out and they aren't allowed to be active and they aren't allowed to try and influence the map and try to pair up with Xmithy or pair up with the bottom lane, I think that's something that's exploitable. I think Xmithy is still kind of exploitable against really, really aggressive junglers. He doesn't really get caught in river, but like his pathing can be somewhat predictable and you can kind of figure out where he is on the map. And then the bot lane is just, Ali gets caught out of position, but every support gets caught out of position a few times a game, and it's just whether it's punished or not. And teams are luckily able to punish Ali more often than they aren't. So I don't think it's any there isn't some crucial flaw that's hanging over them like Pobelter last spring, but it was just. This was the growing pains week. This was the Immortals I expected in week 1, growing pains. I didn't expect them to come out like a rocket right out of the gate. But at the end of the day, they're still a good team. I still feel confident this team makes the playoffs. They still play very well off of each other. They have a really aggressive bot lane that's willing to go after enemy teams, that's willing to go after them, but then they can also play super, super safe. When they're in bad matchups. I really trust Cody Sung as an AD carry not to have positioning mistakes in laning phase. It's just that, Flame and Pobelter, when you could push them in and sort of limit the control that they are allowed over their lane, Flame wants to do it because he wants to set up, I have a huge lead and I want to split push you to death, hence the Flame Horizon. Where Pobelter is more, he just wants to control it so he can chip at your tower when you go back because you got chunked down too much and you're out of pods, or when you go roam so he gets your tower to half health. That's really that kind of play style. And then when they get into this group kind of team fighting phase, they play off each other very, very well, especially when Flame has massive leads. So all in all, I don't think this was a big downer of a week for them. I just think that a couple of little things kind of appeared here and we have to pay attention to them going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's that's one of those things where you have to look at it and go, well, they're not a perfect team right away. They'll figure out some of these flaws. I think that it's very easy for someone like me to get super excited after week 1. I do think I was surprised at Xmithy. We talked about Dardoch being this all aggression all the time, and that switching away from that was the thing that really helped Immortals kind of calm down and feel more comfortable. And in the series against EnVyUs, I kind of felt like Xmithy was playing that all gank all the time, really focusing on really rushing that early game. And I do think Pobelter looked less comfortable as a result. You look at Piri, and he was able to beat him on both sides of that matchup. He got beaten with Ahri by Orianna, and then he got beaten with Orianna by Ahri. That's not ideal. And that's certainly not the Pobelter that we saw last week. So it wasn't a bad week. I agree with you on that, but it's one that we're going to have to watch. Luckily, I don't think it's going to matter when they play Team Liquid. But since we have no lines, we're just going to move on to EnVyUs versus Echo Fox. Let's talk about Echo Fox, because we already said a lot of nice things about EnVyUs. Yeah, I think that sigh is really the only way to describe Echo Fox. I think it's the only time we ever bet on a team to upset somebody, lost that series 0-2, and still felt like we should have won that bet. We should have won that bet. That should have been a 2-0 for Echo Fox. How did this happen, Walter? How are we here? How are we here? What happened?
The problem is that Froggen tries his god dangest little heart out, that frozen little Eniviag heart. Tries so hard. He gets so much gold, so much resources that when he gets caught, that's just it. You're just screwed when you're dealing that much of your team's damage, which is, blatantly leading the league. When you're taking up that much of your team's gold, when you have that much pressure on you, when it's really down to you to try and make a play. Like, at the end of the day, I don't think it's about Echo Fox failing. I think it was just about Cloud9 having the gumption to stand up and, knew exactly how to play against, okay, we have 2 inhibitors down, we have an open nexus, like they obviously want a backdoor. Where can they backdoor from? What can a LeBlanc do to get in here? What can whoever do? They did a lot of ward sweeping. They did a lot of just going out right into that very front edge of their base and placing wards and searching, and they always kept someone back when they were moving forward, back far enough that they would not be interrupted, and that the remaining team's goal was to just keep Echo Fox off that person long enough so they could get back to base to stop whoever was attempting to backdoor. That was just it. It was just getting some picks, and in the end, death timers get really long. You can take objectives, and you can claw your way back into a game. When the 3 primary carriers are all level 18 and are 5 or 6 slotted, gold doesn't matter. Yeah. Having that extra item once you're at 6 items, yeah, maybe that extra 10% crit helps, but at the end of the day, like, a 10,000 gold lead doesn't matter at 55 minutes. It just doesn't. Not in the same way that a 3,000 gold lead matters at 15. It just declines, and all it takes is one team fight, which another team learned about later on that we'll get to. So yeah. At the end of the day, that series was more about Cloud9 having the fortitude to just withstand it, which is something that Cloud9 has done for the entire year, and Echo Fox just falling that one gasp short, which I think really defines Echo Fox in their existence in League of Legends. So,
well, so I'm going to agree with you on game 1, in the sense that I think that was certainly a game that.
Oh, game 2 is entirely different story. Game 2,
yeah, I mean, and that's
focusing on game 1.
That's the problem here. Like let me be clear. I still think if you get 2 Barons and 2 Elder Dragons, you should probably be able to close out a game with the lead that they had. Like, even though Cloud9 knew what to do, if Echo Fox also knew what to do and was executing properly, then it doesn't matter. The defense is at such a disadvantage. Mm-hmm. It was both Cloud9 did everything right and Echo Fox made mistakes in their execution. And that's something where, if that had been the only match they'd lost, I'd be like, well, that's something that they can learn from. They can rewatch the film and figure out what the little mistakes they could, the things they could have done better there. But then in game 2, they somehow go from being up 9 kills to 1 to losing in 23 minutes because of one of the worst Baron attempts I've seen in my entire life. And that, to me, is inexcusable. That's an unacceptable way to lose.
See, that's not inexcusable to me because of game 1. Game 1 puts this thought into Echo Fox's hands of, we swung and swung and swung and swung and swung, and they just kept bouncing back. They just kept getting off the mat at an 8 count. Like, we need to just put them away early. And they made a really risky play that could have had a tremendous payoff for them. The problem was it was super high risk, super high reward.
It wasn't that high of a reward.
I think
the lanes were so thoroughly pushing in their favor. There were many other objectives they could have pushed.
Getting Baron that early on in the game has a massive impact because you can take so much gold off of the map in your favor. Getting all those towers down early, like, sure, then teams can turtle up inside their base, but you get that sudden influx of gold that gets you to your 3rd item while they're still halfway to their 2nd. Like, that can have a massive effect.
They didn't need that massive effect. That's a win more play. That is we're already ahead, let's win more. But when at some point you have to look at it and say, like, this is the only way we lose this game. The only way that Echo Fox loses a game with the lead that they had is either a lot of back and forth throws like what happened in game 1, or that one big Baron mistake. You can't make that play. You have to have more discipline than that as a team. And as soon as that happened, I think the the mental wear and tear from game one just caught up to him. And to be clear, like we're harping in on this Cloud9 series. Like they did play another series. They did play against CLG, and that went to 3 maps. I thought Echo Fox played well in a losing effort. I think that CLG is just the better team there. I don't think it was a bad performance.
That series I felt needed a Cadian. Because Dardoch really held a lot of sway in the 2 CLG victories. Like, I get what Echo Fox is doing. I actually agree with it. I think it's smart. But I think that series needed a Cadian.
Yeah. I mean, this is something you and I had a very big discussion with some other members of our Discord when we were talking about it last week. We were talking about, Echo Fox's decision to go to this 10-man roster and why it made sense if you consider that there is no relegation in this split. There is no harm done if the experiment doesn't go well. And in the meantime, playing each other in-house looks like that's going to be the new path of the league as we get these new academy leagues coming in there. And as we get, just this idea of like rotating people in and out, how will that work? Like experimenting with all of this now while there are no repercussions is totally fair to do if you don't think your team's going to make it to Worlds. But I can't help but feel like, the Echo Fox fan base, like getting to the playoffs would mean so much for these fans. Getting to the playoffs would mean so much for a guy like Froggen who just loves League of Legends. Like, sometimes you can just play the jungler who's really good and is, more importantly, because Grigney's mechanics were not a problem, I don't think, for most of it, but just the shot calling. Yeah, he's just young. Acadian had to learn things by being on the LCS stage, and he has now a knowledge. I mean, you were talking about last week just how much he was a pathing monster and how well he was, in the right place at the right time. Grigney could figure that out in time, but Acadian's doing it right now. And when you're playing 2 teams as strong as Cloud9 and CLG are, like, you could have played him this week against Dignitas and EnVyUs, and I think it would have been less of a hit. I think that...
I'll put it this way, Echo Fox fans. Your organization is probably guaranteed a franchise spot.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have nothing to worry about. Riot loves Rick Fox. He's one of the few people that didn't sign that franchising letter. So you're fine. The worst case scenario for you guys is not all that bad. I just, the best case scenario here looked really good. And I felt like those were 2 ultimately winnable series. And I don't know how different they'd look if Acadian was there. But I think the decision-making they had against Cloud9, I think the decision-making that they had against CLG, and as far as the early game goes, and how they dealt with Dardoch, I can't help but feel like that could have turned those series around. If even just one of those series turned around, you'd be feeling a lot better about Echo Fox. Now they're the gatekeepers holding over TSM, and TSM aren't staying in the bottom for long. So we'll see. I hope that as we see this experiment unfold, Echo Fox get a better handle on when to substitute what players and in what regard, and to what extent. It doesn't always have to be every map for a week, maybe. But anyway, we're going to move on to Team Liquid versus TSM. You're not worried about TSM. That's kind of the impression I get from you. And you were correct, by the way. I did look it up. This was about where Team Liquid was, or TSM, I should say, was in the standings at week 2 for the 2016 spring split. But that split is not well remembered by TSM fans. That's kind of regarded as the weakest split that TSM had. And that was when they had a guy like Yellowstar who had fundamentally shifted who this team was. This is the same roster that we had last year in one of the best regular seasons TSM has had. So why are we here? Why are we at a 2-2 kind of record that's kind of been an underwhelming team to watch so far, despite the talent on the roster?
Listen, different meta, getting used to Doublelift being on the team again, I think matters because it does really change the identity of a team. The spring split TSM that we saw was really about the mid-game spike, something traditionally TSM has always really been focused on. The tower dives on bot with 4 men, going for Dragon when everybody hits their ults, that type of thing. With Doublelift, you then switch back to this team, and especially now that we're starting to get back into this push kind of lane meta, where teams are really looking for champions that can push the enemy lane in, which is why they're playing so much Galio mid, and god damn it, stop playing frickin' Galio mid! I want to swear so bad, but I don't want to edit it, because when Golden Glue looks like the best Galio mid player in NA, that should tell you to stop playing the goddamn champion. Please, Jesus, stop doing it. Anyways, back to my original point. But the team that played in the summer versus the team that played in the spring is so incredibly different because TSM focused so much on these pushing lanes, establishing this early advantage through gold, through farm, through getting objectives because the other team simply could not walk out from behind their outer turrets. There were a lot of free solo dragons or dragons where the jungler and Biofrost were taking them in the summer. Like, that was TSM's playstyle, and I think they're adjusting back to it. I think the champions aren't quite there yet in terms of the meta. We don't really have Lucian. We are seeing a little Jhin crop up here and there, and on the newest patch, a lot of people are saying that Jhin is back, that they made some changes to him that have really made him strong. I think those kind of things really will help Doublelift and really will help Biofrost, especially as we also switch back into melee supports. Something else that was also really big in the summer, and then when it switched to more range supports at Worlds, that was when TSM's bot lane really, really struggled. All of these changes are happening. League of Legends is not a stagnant game. It is a moving, living, breathing thing, which I think matters. You can't just look at summer 2016 and go, well, this is the same roster that TSM had. Well, meta changes. The Rift Herald is now a more important objective, so that is another thing that TSM might lose when they try to go for these dragon trades, or another thing they might gain, and that might be able to help them push an advantage, which in all honesty, I've not seen a single North American team use Rift Herald in a manner that I don't remember seeing a single North American team that has used a Rift Herald for anything other than let's get one tower and like 25% damage on another tower. I think NA teams compared to European and to Korean teams that I've watched are really underutilizing the objective, and it just feels like they're going to get to a point where they're like, it's not really worth it. Like, if I can sneak it, great. If not, I'll let it sit on the map. And we are seeing some games where that just kind of happens, where there is no fight for the Rift Herald. There is no contest. There is no let's go get it vision around it because it's this ultra important objective. I just don't agree with that. I think it could be really, really strong.
It is really strong. We've seen enough places.
Especially when you see teams take it and then take a Baron at like 21 minutes and they just double push it and it's an inhibitor at 22 minutes. And you're like, oh, super minions. I am a BF Sword Caitlyn. I can't kill those. Yeah. So, no, I'm not worried about TSM. They'll figure it out. They always do.
Here's my here's the thing. First of all, I do agree. They will figure it out. They always do. Yep. This team has never missed a finals, and I don't expect this to be the split where that changes. But I do want to say one thing that would worry me if I'm a TSM fan. I don't think Svenskeren going to turn things around. I think this is who he is now, and who he is not a very good player. He's really struggling this split, and struggling in a situation in which now, if anything, he should be feeling more comfortable, not less. And I don't. That is a problem that I think you're going to have to deal with and approach it some way, because that's not going away. I find that to be a serious issue. It might not be enough to cost you, it's not going to cost you a playoff spot, but if you're going to the NA finals, I think that's a very exploitable, glaring weak point at this point.
So here's the problem. He looks really bad when Bjergsen is not on Playmaking Champions, and Galio's not a freaking Playmaking Champion.
Svenskeren looked bad when he was playing Talia too, though. Bjergsen looked great. The rest of the game looked great. He does not look good, period. There's not a single Svenskeren game that I have seen in about 3 months now.
Great in summer either. Let's not forget, he spiked at Worlds. That was a different Svenskeren at Worlds. Let's be completely honest with us. He was the worst player on that team in summer until Worlds, and then he was the best for Worlds. Let's not kid ourselves here.
I think we're looking at a different scale of it. I have the stats here. Svenskeren actually had a better KDA than Haunter during the summer split.
Hey, just
he had 66.0. No, it wasn't just not dying. He'd had 302 assists, which was the second highest on the team. He had a 66.0% kill participation, which was one of the highest among all junglers in the league at that point. He was ahead in gold instead of being badly behind like he is right now. His damage per minute was higher. His earned gold per minute, he has dropped off. Okay, this is not just where he was from 2016. It's a different level. And I think at some point, at the very least, when they go into the off season, I think that's a position they're going to look at, because I don't think it's sustainable as it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, think about TSM. What is their longest tenured jungler? It was Odd One.
Yeah, we're getting to that.
And that's 3 splits. We look at every other jungler. Amazing lasted 1 split. Santorin lasted 2 splits. Svenskeren is on his 4th split. Actually, Svenskeren is the longest tenured jungler in the LCS era. Odd One was around for seasons season 2, which I think is pretty massive.
Well, as we know, Bjergsen is a vampire who sucks the life energy out of his junglers, so to sustain his perfection in the mid lane. That's just kind of how this goes. So
This is true.
That's why by the end they're left as nothing but a ward. That's how the memes go, right? Am I memeing right? Let's move on. Immortals versus Cloud9. We talked about the Echo Fox side of that Cloud9 series, but I mean, you mentioned their tenacity. What else are you enjoying about this Cloud9 team? Are you enjoying them more than you were last split, or is this just the one compliment you're willing to give our lovely Cloud9 listeners?
Smoothie's good. I think Smoothie's actually improving. Like he actually looks really, really good. He looks like the best support in North America. And again, it's not like all of a sudden he's taking this huge leap. Like he's just getting incrementally better. I don't know how high his ceiling goes. Like, I don't know if we're going to talk about him in, like, the terms of, like, oh, he's a Mata, he's a Mad Life, he's, like, one of the greatest supports in the world. But, like, for North America, he's a really, really damn good support. Rest of the team, it's the same thing. They're all at their ceilings. Ray is having issues. I think Ray has the most upside of any player still on any player on this roster.
Yeah, he's not looked great.
But yeah, he hasn't looked great. Contracts hasn't looked fantastic. He's looked more like the second half of the spring as opposed to early on in the spring when he was really kind of impressive. And we were talking about Moon and Acadian and Dardoch and all 5 of these young North American junglers, and Contracts was right there with him. Like, now if I look at him, like, yeah, he's better than Svenskeren, but I think I would rather have Dardoch.
Well, hold on. Let's do the game.
Yeah, let's do the game.
So, Contracts or Dardoch?
Dardoch.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Contracts or Acadian?
Acadian.
And we're not gonna. Should we compare him to Greg? I don't think that's fair.
I would take Contracts over Greg just because Contracts has more experience.
But I think Greg doesn't have enough of a sample size yet. Yeah. Contracts or Moon?
I think Moon's more aggressive.
I think Moon is too.
I like Moon a little better.
I don't think he has as many tools to work with as Contracts does on Cloud9, but I think as an individual, I like where Moon is. Contracts or Xmithy?
I'm going to say Contracts because I like Contracts' upside.
That's fair. I think Xmithy's looking better than he did last split, but I think Contracts does have a better long term. Yeah. I get where you're coming from on that. Contracts or Nori? Yeah, I know. It's such a shame. Contracts or Meteos?
Contracts.
Yeah. Okay. Contracts or Chaser?
Chaser because he's more consistent.
Contracts or Shrimp?
Contract because Contracts more consistent.
Okay. So right now we have him at about 5th, 6th. Lyra? Yeah. Rainover?
Rainover. And
Svenskeren, you like Contracts more?
I like Contracts more than Svenskeren.
Okay, so that puts him at a 6th if we include everybody. Yeah, he's middle of the pack right now. Yeah. And that's not bad. I don't want to paint the picture that Contracts is bad, but Contracts was a guy that when he came up from the Cloud9 Challenger team, I thought he could be a top 2 jungler in North America. He looked really good as a young talent, and Cloud9 obviously have so much built around them. It's just frustrating to see these little mistakes that you think would be ironed out in his play by now. It doesn't seem like he's growing at as much of a rate as we would expect a young player like him to be. Look at the growth that Acadian has had in the same time versus where Contracts is. And I think you could see, like, Acadian was super raw, but his pathing has improved significantly. Contracts was more polished coming in, but I think Acadian's more polished now.
Acadian definitely surpassed him. And again, it is criminal that Acadian did not win Rookie of the Split. It is absolutely, utterly criminal that just because Contracts was on a higher win percentage team, he won Rookie of the Split over Acadian. It is criminal.
Yeah, we're not going to let that go on this podcast anytime soon. I get the sense, and I don't blame either of us for that because I do it too. FlyQuest versus CLG. FlyQuest won a series this week. Do we have to start caring? Are we at a point where we have to start caring about FlyQuest? Cool. Okay. I almost do want to just leave it at that because this team hasn't been all that exciting. But I know there are FlyQuest fans who would be, they've got their hardcores. is there anything that you want to see from them this week? Is there anything that you would like to see that would make you start to care within realistic boundaries? What would you like to see?
I want to see him knock off Cloud9 so neither team makes the playoffs.
Oh God, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Oh boy, I want to say, as someone who really liked Moon back in the day, and thought that he hadn't lived up to his potential before, I like that he's still looking good.
Yeah, he's the bright spot on this team, and the rest of the teams.
If Wild Turtle could remember that he's supposed to be a good League of Legends player, that would be great.
I think the four of them are past their prime.
I mean, Wild Turtle looked better than this last split. And I know he was on TSM, so he was surrounded by better talent. But even in lane, like, he's looked better than this. His overextensions are just being accentuated.
Biofrost is that much better than Lemon Nation. Like, Lemon Nation doesn't bring anything to the laning phase. He doesn't. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, he can hit his skill shots with a pretty high accuracy, but it's not like he's overly aggressive. It's not like he goes out of his way to, take a bunch of damage so that Wild Turtle can win trades. They keep putting him on Jhin, which up until this, 7.13 patch isn't very good. Like, I just know Lemon Nation and Balls are too far past their prime. High is too stuck in he's only good at a few certain champions, and he really, his Orianna isn't even that good. It's just he holds the ultimate for so long that it's awkward to play against him, because anybody else would have used their ultimate 10 seconds earlier in a team fight, and you're like, oh, is it still up? I don't think it's still up. I think they used it. Who do you use it on? Oh, there he goes. Then he uses it, and he gets two people. Like, I think two of their players are really far past their prime. I think they have a really good young talent that, is a nice building block, and I think the other two guys are, supposed to just be the veteran leadership that's kind of around the team. But you look at every other team that's playoff potential, they're playoff bound, they have more talented players at their positions.
Yeah. This is the FlyQuest that we saw in the second half of the split. They had those 2 wins in week 9 playing against the 2 worst teams, and we have to give them credit. They were better than the 2 worst teams, but the team that went 7-1 in the first 4 weeks of the season has been gone for a while. And I think that people who were hoping that Wild Turtle would bring that back, I think are quickly discovering that may have been optimistic. I just want to kind of interested to see where you think this guy goes. In CS per minute, where do you think Wild Turtle stands right now?
3rd.
9th.
Whew. I thought you were gonna surprise me here.
No. What about damage per minute?
7th.
4th.
Pick a way you want to go, damn it. Go high or go low.
Well, here, let's do earned gold per minute. Where do you think he is there?
8th.
6th. And so the reason I did this, hold on, because you're probably wondering, Chase, what the hell?
None of this makes sense.
So Arrow, in the same time, our MVP from last split, 8.4 CS per minute, that put him at 8th. Damage per minute, 464, that puts him at 8th. Earned gold per minute, 238.4, that puts him at 10th. I noticed that stat line, and I wanted to come up with a good way to segue into it because it's amazing, and I didn't want to forget it. I have no idea what's going on with Wild Turtle. His numbers are all over the place, and you could read into it 1,000 different things. We need more of a sample size, but
this is one of those players that Bill Simmons or Matthew Berry in his fantasy draft day manifesto puts up these lines, and it's Wild. They're both Wild Turtles. See, you can manipulate stats to say anything that you want by cherry picking the ones you like.
Yeah, with Wild Turtle, you can like I said, we need to see more, but Arrow, man, that just hurts. But you know what doesn't hurt, Walter? We have the gambling lines live while recording.
Oh,
they have just been turned on, so we actually can use our.
I'm not
we can
prepared
actually start
for
making
this.
picks. Did you not put your lines?
I haven't. No, because we didn't have them yet. I'm not prepared. Okay. We can do this though. I'll do all my guesses completely live off the top of my head.
Completely live.
Completely
okay.
live. This is a good test for me. This is a good test.
This is great. Okay, so
let's go back to the beginning real quick.
Let's breeze through at the beginning. Yes. So Immortals versus Team Liquid. Where do you have it?
Immortals at minus 325.
You're gonna get this one. I said minus 275. It's minus 345. EnVyUs versus Echo Fox. Where do you see that one?
EnVyUs plus 130.
EnVyUs. Oh, wait, you mean minus 130? Yeah, you and I both. We tied there. I said EnVyUs minus 130 as well. It's EnVyUs minus 143. So next up, and I'll give all the plus lines at the end because we need to get these minuses through real quick. Team Solo Mid versus Team Liquid. Where do you think that line goes?
I'm gonna say TSM minus 350.
Okay, I get this one. I said minus 400. It's minus 526, which is totally fair because Team Liquid is not very good at League of Legends anymore. Cloud9 versus Immortals. This one's an interesting one, I think. I went back and forth on my guess a lot.
Cloud9 minus 155.
God, you beat me because you went 5 points higher than I did. I said minus 150. It's minus 208. And then FlyQuest versus CLG, which is where we got in our discussions here. Where do you have the line for FlyQuest CLG?
CLG minus 280.
Yep, you got that one as well. I went too low. I don't know why I thought that they were going to be harsher on CLG or at least nicer to FlyQuest. It's CLG minus 333. So the plus odds for underdogs for those of you playing along at home, FlyQuest was plus 240. Immortals, I should say, was plus 155, which I actually like that. We might want to come back to that. Team Liquid plus 350. I think we're not coming back to that. Echo Fox at plus 110. And Team Liquid at plus 240, working our way back from the bottom to the top there. So hopefully you wrote all of that down, Walter. I know I did. So
no, you went too fast for me.
I went too fast for you?
You went way too fast for me, but that's fine. We did it live, and yeah.
Here, I can't send it to you on Facebook or anything, can I?
We'll take care at the end of the episode.
We'll
just what's
going.
The scoreboard at?
Right now, it's 2-4 in your favor.
That's all I care about.
It should be, yeah, because we tied for 1. Exactly.
2-4. Got it.
You're up by 2. We've got
Perfect.
5 games left.
Beautiful.
We're here, guys. You can tell this is how you know we do it live, because if we had planned this out, we would not make ourselves look that silly. Let's keep going. Team Dignitas versus Phoenix One. Walter, what are you like? Is there any chance that Phoenix One rises from the ashes here? Do you have any hope for them in this series?
Hang on. This just in, live from the Phoenix One house. It seems like they will be starting Skara as their jungler this split. He's coming over on loan from Delta Fox. They saw his Warwick game. They think it's fantastic. They think it's just the exact right amount of spice that they need to take this game from Dignitas. No, I mean, it doesn't matter. Whichever way Dignitas goes, whether it's Chaser or Shrimp in the jungle, I think either one is a leg up against Phoenix One. Either you have Chaser, who is this very consistent presence, this very steadying presence, or you have Shrimp that could just absolutely make mincemeat, or I guess I should say fish food out of Phoenix One's junglers. Like, I have no faith in this team. Phoenix One has not shown any ability to put up a fight, and not a single damn one of them have learned not to abandon their AD carry. The amount of times I see them just dip away from Arrow and flash away or dash away or just completely run when Arrow is coming in to enter a fight, it's just ridiculous when he's the MVP. Like, every other league protects their MVP like it is this precious baby chick. And Phoenix One is like, yeah, we're a phoenix. Our chick dies. It just is reborn in a blaze of fire. Like, that's not actually how League of Legends works, folks.
Well,
like,
I mean,
sure.
Technically they do get reborn because they regenerate back at base. So it's kind of how League of Legends
I was about to go there, but it's not like they don't become like young and beautiful again after they fizzle out. Like, no, they're behind. It's like they start losing feathers and they lose the ability to fly. Like, that's the type of Phoenix this Phoenix One is right now. So no, I have no faith until they show me something to have faith in. So no.
That's fair. Where does that put the line in your mind then? Because I have actually got all of them written down now. There will be no more Chase desperately scrambling for time.
Phoenix won minus 155.
You had Phoenix 1 as the favorites? That seems a little silly. I'm going to get that one. Okay. Dignitas is the favorite. I said Dignitas minus 333. It's Dignitas minus 227.
Okay.
The casinos are done giving Phoenix 1 credit.
I mean, they were giving him credit last week against FlyQuest. I guess I guess I was trying to read the algorithm too much.
Yeah, no, they Phoenix 1 beat out any faith the algorithm could have given him last week. It's been really bad. EnVyUs versus TSM. It's going to be match of the week. EnVyUs is good. And TSM is going to be good eventually. Like that, they're going to get there. What are you most looking forward to in this series?
How do they deal with Lyra? Like you said, I agree. Svenskeren is the weak link on this team. So what is TSM to do to try and negate Lyra? Oh, and then there's the bot lane matchup.
Yeah.
Oh, this might be game of the week.
This might be really good.
This might be a really good game. Immortals versus Cloud9 will be pretty sweet too.
Okay, can you just imagine like going in a time machine and telling us a year ago, by the way, you're going to be super hyped for Apollo versus Double Lift? Like that's going to be something you're so excited for. You're not even going to be able to contain yourself.
Oh my god, no. Oh my god. Past me would call future me a very, very bad word and then kick him in the balls.
And we'd have to censor all of it on the pod.
Oh my god.
This is the world we live in, man. This is the
I
dankest
love it
timeline.
though. This is amazing. This is fantastic.
This is gonna be fun. This is the fun.
Oh my god. I might have to watch this at full speed.
Yeah.
Like I might not be able to watch this at double speed. I might have to watch this at full speed when I watch VODs because this is gonna be dank.
I mean, the one big glaring thing that could ruin all of this for us is Sarah versus Hansert, right? Like that's the thing that
Bjergsen's the best player in North America.
It's true.
If they don't put him on Galileo, which Parth, for the love of God, man, stop the madness. Stop it.
He's got a lot of Talia now. I think Talia's great.
Parth.
Which, for the record, I do want to say Bjergsen had the sweetest Talia ult of the week, blocking off the quarter so that the Dignitas could not escape. In the one victory that they had over Dignitas.
Good.
It was beautiful.
Playmaking champions, folks. Playmaking champions. God damn it.
I'm in on this. I'm with you on it. I can't wait for the series. There's just so much across the board that we love. Where do you think the line is, Walter?
It's the thing, because I don't have the matchups or anything written out either. I really need to, like...
EnVyUs versus TSM.
TSM... Now, since I'm doing it live, I'm going to say TSM at minus 300.
Okay, you get this one.
Yes!
I went too high. I said TSM minus 333. I didn't think we were going to be on the EnVyUs bandwagon yet. Apparently we are. It's TSM minus 256.
Ooh.
It's EnVyUs at plus 190.
No.
It's not quite enough.
This is the kind of, like, week where TSM just, like... unloads the shotgun both barrels and just says nuh-uh, like stop it. Like the young upstart team picking off some people starting to get some steam. This is when TSM just steps in front, takes the charge and says no boys, not gonna happen on our watch.
Can you tell me something, Walter?
Sure.
Why would we not take over 2.5 maps at plus 110? Because EnVyUs is winning a map.
A meteor would fall on both of our houses at the exact same time across the country and kill us both before we lock in our smart money picks.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just write that down. CSM.
Yeah, 3 maps.
At plus 2.5 maps at plus 110.
Yeah, that's done.
That's
done.
That's gonna be great.
Easy money.
Get excited. That's easy money, and it's gonna be a great series, and I can't wait.
Easy money.
And we're gonna keep going. Phoenix 1 versus CLG. This is not going to be a great series. I can wait, and I'm glad that at the very least, this means I won't have to worry about having a second screen for EnVyUs versus TSM. Because not gonna worry about missing that one. That's
man, Phoenix One are about to get Dardicked.
It.
Oh my god.
That's not gonna end well.
Yeah, Phoenix One hasn't shown me anything to think that they're anything this split.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything like? I mean, is this just an easy CLG 2-0? Like, what do you think CLG is going to do to kind of put it away?
I mean, I think they just need to play their game. They just need to let Dardoch go off in the early game, take advantage of a really weak jungler, take advantage of laners that are weak in laning phase. And it seems weird to say that about Ryu, but he's not the strongest guy in laning phase. In all honesty,
he does not seem comfortable where the meta is right now.
Yeah, he seems very out of place.
He does a lot better on things that can scale or things that naturally roam. And I think the problem is, but the map hasn't opened up because they're not getting those early towers elsewhere. So he hasn't been able to roam.
They're
and when you just force him
control in the jungle, they don't have a jungler that's going out there applying pressure on the map. Like, it's a whole lot of things, and just Dardoch is watching the TSM CLG series and just watching Dardoch in general, and every time he secures an objective, every time he steals a red buff with like Graves' ultimate is just, I wish I had half the talent. I wish I had a third of the talent Dardoch did in the jungle in my own game. Because, God, he's so good to watch. And his ego, I don't care that people don't like it sometimes. He deserves to have that big of a view of himself. He is that good of a player.
And here's the thing, I think people who brought it up in the preseason were like, oh, well, he and Stixay are good friends, so it'll be fine. At the time, I was like, I don't, people have been friends before, and it hasn't worked out. But, like, every time that Dardoch and Stixay leave, whether it's a win or a loss, like, they're kind of joking around. Like, they seem to, like...
Yeah, Dardoch said in an interview, like, of all the teams, like, CLG was the one that accepts me for who I am, which is weird because that was what I was afraid wasn't going to happen. I didn't think Ziggs was going to adapt to Dardoch. I thought he was going to try and push him more into the CLG framework, and, man, Ziggs adapted this team and was just like, yeah, Dardoch, go do your thing, man. Like, like, this is how we are in mid to late game, but early game, it's your playground, dude. Do whatever you want, and he is taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, it's so interesting because you look at a guy like Doublelift, who was there for very long, and eventually they had to part ways because Doublelift just had this one view of the team, and they couldn't make it last for long enough. And, who knows, maybe if Dardoch is here like a year from now, 2 years from now, that eventually gets to that point. But, like, they just, the hyper-competitive nature of Dardoch is not a problem for them as of right now. It seems like they're willing to accept that and say, like, look, as long as you're willing to work with us, we're willing to work with you. And, I guess maybe Dardoch is a little bit more willing to compromise than someone like Doublelift was. Maybe that's just where he's like, look, as long as you're not going to try to single me out and tell me that I'm the problem when I'm doing all that I can do, then we're going to get along just fine. It's certainly, he seems happier. We see him smiling on the stage way more than we did for basically his entire career at this point. It's just, which, by the way, should terrify every... Yeah, that's true. But, even after the loss, I think he was handling it. I don't know. We'll see.
I still want Forgiven and Dardoch on the same team.
Yeah, it's only been 2 weeks. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I am surprised by how well the experiment has worked so far. I hope it lasts. It's nice to see these personalities kind of mesh. Yes. Where do you think the line is, Walter?
CLG at minus 355.
Yeah, and with that you win the week.
Suck it!
Which really does, the fact that you're doing this on the fly and I'm doing this having already written out all my answers early really is a condemnation of my sense of North America. I said CLG minus 400. I just, at this point, I'm like, why are we giving Phoenix One any credit? Apparently they're getting a little credit because it's CLG minus 294, which means Phoenix One at plus 210, which I don't think has any value at all.
Suck it, Wassenar!
It's not ideal. It brings us to 4-3 overall in the challenge. I'm only up 1 now. That's not how I wanted this to go. I never asked for this. CLG minus 1.5 is at plus 115.
It's likely, very likely.
Yeah, that's something we I might want us to come back to. Let's wrap up these last two real quick because we've talked about all the teams in these matches.
Well, here's one thing.
Yes.
CLG only against Liquid. They've lost one map against everyone except Liquid. So 3 of their 4 games, they've gone to 3 maps.
Is there any reason to believe Phoenix 1 is better than Liquid right now?
No, but just trends, man. Just trends.
That's fine.
Just trends.
I get you. Dardock's up and down kind of streak is always the worry there. But Inori and Meteos don't look like they're even close to being able to punish him right now.
This is true.
So we'll come back to it. We have other things to talk about. FlyQuest versus Cloud9. Cloud9 blue versus Cloud9 orange. Where do we see is this the turn where FlyQuest can get at a Cloud9 team that's kind of been underwhelming compared to what people thought they were going to do at the start of the split? Or no, I mean I'm assuming we just roll with Cloud9 and assume that they've got this pretty much in the bag, right?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this series. I don't care about this series. No. Cloud9 is more talented than FlyQuest. I don't want to hear it, hi fanboys. Like, they're a better team. Enough said.
Yeah, in every position.
Yeah.
In macro and micro and in coach.
Well, except jungle, because we did just like 20 minutes ago say Moon was better than Contracts.
Yeah, sure. Other than jungle. But
other than jungle.
Jungle can't hard carry a team. If they could, then EnVyUs wouldn't have been 10th last split.
This is utterly true.
Where do you think the line is, Walter?
I'm gonna say, cause it doesn't even matter, I'm gonna say Cloud9 minus 255.
God damn it. Why though? I don't like any of this. I said Cloud9 minus 240. I just thought Cloud9 hasn't had a lot of wins yet this season. FlyQuest won a series last week. Cloud9 minus 370.
I mean, dude, when you're on, you're on.
FlyQuest plus 260. We're not pretending that FlyQuest is good anymore, which I appreciate.
I don't know. Do we think Jack is corrupt enough to
you would stop there.
No, damn it! I'm going all in on the Cloud9 and FlyQuest. Hey, Jack is fixing this match. I guarantee it. Put all your money on FlyQuest. Every cent you have, your college fund, your kid's college fund, your grandfather's college fund, every spare penny you can pull out of your couch, put it on FlyQuest.
Nah, see, if he really wanted to do it, he'd. Oh.
My lawyer says, please disregard all of that.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. Please don't sue us, Jack. Please.
I got a microphone. That's all I got.
Dignitas versus Echo Fox. Let's close this out. Does Echo Fox turn this around? Are they 3-3, or are we looking at them kind of falling out of the playoff picture this week?
I don't know how to call this series because Dignitas lost to the team that cannot be named, and it's an odd week. And Echo Fox looked really good in week 1, and they looked bad in week 2. So now is it week 3? Like, are we doing the meme again? Just it's the opposite of what the spring was? I don't know. I don't know how to pin down either of these teams.
I don't think they know how to pin down either of these teams.
I mean that's pretty fair. So I'm gonna try and pin down one of these teams. Dignitas minus 135.
God, why though? Why and stop it are the two things I'm gonna say here. I was so off this entire week. I don't know, man. I had Dignitas minus 280 because.
Wait, why?
Because Echo Fox went 0-2, and we already last week.
They just lost to Liquid. You made me say their name. They lost to Liquid, and you have them at minus 280. Are you insane?
They beat Team Solo Mid. They beat TSM, the top team in the league as far as the metrics are for whenever we do these guest lines.
Chase, Dignitas was only minus 333 against Liquid.
Yeah. That's my point. So I brought it down 50 points because they lost to Liquid, but they beat TSM, so I didn't bring it down any more than that.
Oh, you're nutty, dude.
Apparently I am. It's Dignitas minus 192.
Just nutty.
Echo Fox plus 145, and I actually kind of like that.
I really like that.
Yeah. Echo Fox plus 145, I think we're gonna just nab that.
You're the one that has all the lines in front of you, so I'm going off what you said this week.
Okay, well, we've got one. We need one more smart money bet. Because I think that's just a thing that we need to do.
We did TSM EnVyUs to go to 3 maps, right?
Yeah, TSM EnVyUs going to 3 maps. That's plus 110. Echo Fox over Dignitas plus 145. The other lines that I think you missed. Team Liquid versus Immortals versus Team Liquid is plus 240 for Liquid. Those are the underdog lines there. We're not taking that. No. EnVyUs versus Echo Fox. Echo Fox is at plus 110. I don't think we're taking that.
What's the map count for that one? What's
the map count for EnVyUs versus Echo Fox? That is a great question. A question that, in fact, has an answer. An answer that I think will be important to our decision making.
Because here's our big thing. We learned in the spring that value is not necessarily won and lost by teams. You can find a ton of value in 3 maps. A ton of value.
It's minus odds.
Okay, never mind. No value there. Forget everything that I just said. That's the thing. Like
minus 105. So next, keep going. Team Liquid versus TSM. Liquid is plus 350.
Nothing.
That's never happening. Cloud9 versus Immortals. Immortals is plus 155.
Immortals are underdogs?
Yeah. Cloud9's minus 208. So it's Immortals plus 155. I actually kind of like that too.
I do too, but what's more likely? Cloud9 losing to Immortals or Dignitas losing to Echo Fox?
I mean, we could take both. We have 3 smart money bets every week, Walter.
Yeah, but we already took the
EnVyUs and TSM, Echo Fox over Dig. This would be the third.
Oh. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just do that. That's nice and easy.
Yeah. So that's how this goes. So we have and just because for people that are completionists, I think FlyQuest plus 240 over CLG was the one that you didn't have as well. But yeah, so that's our smart money bets. EnVyUs plus in TSM going to 3 maps plus 110. Echo Fox beating Dignitas at plus 145. Immortals over Cloud9 at plus 155. This podcast is 4-3 on the season. We went 1-2 last week. The old 1-2, because we thought for whatever reason we thought Immortals and EnVyUs was going to go to 3 maps. That made sense. It just so happened that Immortals didn't take a map. We expected EnVyUs to take 1. Turns out they took 2. And we had Echo Fox plus 210 over Cloud9. And like I said, really felt like we should have won this one. But hopefully you feel like a winner from listening to this podcast. I understand it felt a little hectic when we had to adjust our lines on the fly, but I'm glad we got it all in one episode for you lovely listeners.
Oh, me too. Me too. We need to do them live all the time.
Absolutely. Just find out halfway through. Yeah, I mean, clearly that was your element, much like TSM. Under the pressure, you came through. So that's me saying a nice thing about TSM. I think I want to throw up in my mouth a little bit, but that's just how it's going to be. Hopefully you guys, if you guys did enjoy it, you should comment. Hopefully you guys feel less sickened by that comment than I do. Let us know. You can find me at RedShirtKing if you want to talk to me about anything I said in this podcast. Walter, where can Jack's lawyers and the rest of the listeners find you?
Well, Jack's lawyers can find me at RedShirtKing under my pseudonym Chase Wassenar. For everybody else, if you want to find the real deal, and guys, it's 2:30 in the morning. Eastern time recording this, so sorry if I'm a little bonkers, but like that was really fun. Just being like, all right, let's just come up, quick fire the lines out. Like,
I feel like that was infinitely more fun for you because you won. Let's be clear. As someone who planned ahead of time and did as badly as I did, I had significantly less fun. That's.
But you can find this week's NA winner and your Guess the Lines World Heavyweight Champion at Ceades _LOL.
Awesome.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. We will see you guys next week for EU and NA as always. Wednesday for EU, Thursday for NA. We should not have any more problems getting the lines out at the very beginning of the show. But hopefully you guys, who knows, maybe you enjoyed the chaos. Maybe that's the way that we should do things from now on. Comment section is the way you let us know. But until next time, goodbye, Internet.
Cheers, mate.
You can follow the Rough Drafts Podcast on all your favorite social media sites. Twitter @RoughDraftsPod, Facebook.com/RoughDraftsPod, SoundCloud.com/esportsroughdrafts, YouTube.com/RoughDraftspodcast, as well as on iTunes by searching for the Rough Drafts Podcast. The Rough Drafts Podcast is supported by our lovely Patreons at patreon.com/RoughDraftsPod and by viewers like you. Thanks for listening, and goodbye, Internet.